Hello folks, it's Town USA here, taking a break from music to discuss some phono cartridges. As you know, I've had these phono cartridges now for a better part of a year, and like myself, you folks have also heard the needle drops from these cartridges, so your comments are welcome in the comment section on what cart you like the best, or just your overall opinion. Would be appreciated. So, let's get started now. We'll start with this Shure M447. These carts were, Shure discontinued all their phono cartridge lines earlier this year. So the price on these M447s have gone up. This is a spherical stylus matted to a bulletproof cantilever. This is made for vacuuming, scratching, and is a favorite card among DJs. This is a 9.5 millivolt output, which is pretty powerful. So you may not need a phono preamp for this cartridge. Let's start with the orthophone. This is the 2M Blue. This cart retails for about $200. It's a nude elliptical stylus. Has an output of 5.5 millivolts, so it's pretty loud as well. The cartridge itself weighs 7.2 grams, and the frequency response is 20 to 20,000 hertz, plus 2/-1 decibel, or frequency range, it says 3 dBs. It's 20 to 25,000 hertz. Tracking force 1.8 grams. Channel separation 25 dB at 1 kilohertz, and it's matted to a aluminum cantilever. I have this mounted to an orthophone SH4 head shell. Pretty good. This one here, sound wise, it's a neutral sounding cart, which means that it's not going to be overbearing on any part of the frequency spectrum. This is a favorite among a lot of people that like a good detailed sound, but like to be in control of their own EQ, and this is the cart for that. It's like the jack of all trades but master of none, but all the trades that it does have, it's very good at it. This is a very good cart. Orthophone 2M Mono. I also have this mounted to an SH4 head shell. I find I've used the 2M Blue probably the most out of all my carts, due to the fact that I don't have to worry about swapping this cart out for that one and having to use a vertical tracking scale to recalibrate the tracking force, since both cartridges weigh the same and they are both mounted to the same exact kind of head shell. So it makes it very convenient for me to plug in the 2M Blue to play stereo records. What's good about this cart here is that it reads the horizontal plane only, unlike stereo carts that pick up vertical signals. Even though you're using a mono switch, it's still going to pick up distortion from vertical walls of the groove, but this mono cart does not, which is why, if you notice when I play this cart, that the upper mids and the treble is not muffled out like you would hear with a mono switch with a stereo cart. This retails for about $350. There are other mono carts that are cheaper that you may want to look into if if the budget is to your liking, but this is a damn good cart. This right here is the Audio-Technica VM530EN. This is the replacement of the outgoing 120EB. This is also a nude elliptical stylus. It's a 0.03, 0.04 mil. It weighs 6.4 grams. And the channel separation is a really nice 27 dB at 1 kilohertz. And usually any type of channel separation above 25 is usually reserved for cartridges costing much more than this. My only gripe about this is I believe it just lacks a bit too much in the bass and the lower mid-range. It really highlights the highs. But I mean, I'm not being fair to this cart because I've only ran this for about 8 hours. It's still well below the running time for it. So, you know, but after I bought this cart, I was buying other carts pretty much immediately thereafter. So I kind of went on to other carts. But every once in a while, I'll plug this in and do some spins with it. You know, it's an aluminum cantilever. The output's 4.5 millivolts, so it's decently loud. And the tracking force is 2 grams. Now, I guess they must have beefed up the suspension on these cantilevers because the outgoing 120EB was 1.5. I believe the tracking force is 1.5, so they beefed up the tracking force on these new line of AT carts about a half a gram across the board. Alright, the other Audio Technica that I have here, this is the Microline. This is the VM740ML Microline. The size of this stylus is 2.2 by 0.12 mil. Boy, this Microline stylus, I mean, it just, the way it sits in the grooves, I mean, you're not hearing any intergroove distortion on this card. No sibilance is virtually eliminated. Don't play styrene 45s with this. You'll tear them up. But the detail is very, very good. I have noticed with this 740 ml that this does not suffer from what a lot of people call like ear bleed or overly bright. This is a much more balanced sounding cart from Audio Technica. And I would consider this is kind of like the hybrid between the old AT440 MLB and the AT150 MLX. This is superior to the old 440 MLB and even the 540 ML because it has like an aluminum die-cast housing, which is better electrical shielding. But unlike the old 150 MLX, this does not have a boron cantilever. It's a aluminum cantilever. The output on this is 4 millivolts, 20 to 27,000 kilohertz of frequency response. Channel separation is an impressive 28 dB at 1 kilohertz. The weight of the card is 8 grams. But yeah, this is a very good detailed sounding card. Much like the 2M Blue, it's very neutral sounding, so you're not going to get overwhelming. The bass is there, but obviously it's not a Nagaoka type bass. But man, this is a very detailed card. All right, final one. We'll look over here. This is the Nagaoka MP200. I had a little revelation a couple days ago when I did a needle drop with this on an Ian Gom 45. It was tearing it up. Thank God it was a promo and I had the other side I can go to, which is why you've noticed that I used my Shure M4047 to do that needle drop, because this was carving it up. Now, it was my understanding that elliptical styluses, especially one with a conservative 0.04 point, 0.4 by 0.7 mil elliptical stylus should be fine on the styrene. I mean, this only tracks at 1.75 grams. Obviously not. Something's up with the way Nagaoka markets their cartridges, because it says superfine polished elliptical diamond. But 0.4 by 0.7 is a very conservative dimensions for an elliptical. It's not overly fine. So I don't know why I was having issues with the styrene 45 with this. Channel separation 25 dB at 1 kilohertz. Tracking force 1.57 grams. Boron cantilever. That's what makes this cart really sound so great. And boron cantilevers are usually reserved for much more higher priced carts, like a lot of your moving coils. But this one here, yeah, has a nice boron cantilever to it. And if you don't know what boron is, it's a rare substance. A lot of it's actually toxic, which is why a lot of cartridge manufacturers don't use it anymore. But basically, the boron is a lower mass, makes it easier for the groove modulations to move the stylus around. You'll get a lot more flexing with an aluminum cantilever than you will with boron. So this is what makes this cart. I mean, this is a great sounding cart, but since now that it tore up a styrene 45, now I'm in the market for a spherical. Even though I have that Shure M44-7, I want a better sounding spherical cart, so I'm looking at the Goldring E2, which will be on my list in a month or two. But there you have it. Those are some of the carts that I've been using. Obviously, I had a new MP500, which is inside here, so I don't want to dig it out, but we already did some needle drops on that, and I spoke about that one already. But I hope you're digging the sounds from my videos that I've been posting up. I've come a long way from just using just the old Ortofon DJ Concord carts to now using some really good sounding carts to try to bring the best sound possible to you folks. Thanks for watching.